Today on Sack & Co. For kids, the holiday season means receiving tons of presents. However, giving kids the gift of giving is something that can last all year long. Teaching kids the true meaning of the holidays. Today on Sack & Co.
Hello and welcome to Sack & Co. I'm Melissa Paul. The holiday season is in full swing, and for many that means parties and celebrations with families and friends. So it's important to look your best. Now, Sacramento Surgical Artist specializes in cosmetic, facial, and oral surgery and can actually help you get that beautiful look for the holidays without having to undergo invasive surgical procedures. And that is actually what our next guest is all here about to explain. So here to explain more about their services, Dr. Heir of Sacramento Surgical Arts. And a warm welcome to Doctor. We're great to have you here on the show. Now, I understand as we age, our bodies go through some changes.
Right.
So what kind of changes can we anticipate?
Well, there's a lot of changes that occur. Some of them, I basically break it down into three changes. Number one, you get greater skin laxity, and that's because of environmental changes, sun exposure, people smoke, and so on, just life in general. That causes collagen to decrease, which gives the skin more elasticity, and then the fat within our faces starts drooping. And as we get older, we'll notice that if you look at a baby, why is a baby cute? Because fat's in the right place.
Yes.
So fat is actually our friend, it's not our enemy. And then as we get older, all of a sudden the fat will migrate down, so then we get these grooves underneath our eyes, and everyone thinks, oh, I need eyelid surgery. Well, no, you don't. You may need some fat put back in or a filler. And you have other changes. So the picture that was up, you could see the bottom of the face actually looked wider than the top of the face, and it's sort of like an egg that's turned upside down.
Oh.
And then when you reverse it through fillers, then all of a sudden you have that redistribution. And you can see on this picture, just with fillers and Botox, you can make a big change. And these are subtle changes. No one can look at the patient and say, oh, you had surgery or you had a procedure done. It's just,
There's
have
just
you gone
something, yeah, that there's
something
just,
different.
Yeah, just something different. You
Yeah.
know, I love what you said was that fat is our friend.
It is.
It just depends on where it's at.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the services that you offer that kind of help us address those changes, like the fat migrating and
Right.
and a little bit of the, you know, like you had mentioned, kind of an egg flipped upside down, the shifting that we experience.
Well, you know, obviously the extreme is surgery. And if we try to maintain as we're aging and it's appropriate, fillers and Botox are the best. What Botox does is it paralyzes muscles. So if it paralyzes muscles, then all of a sudden you're using them less, and it brings in fluid with it, so it gets rid of the fine lines and wrinkles. The nice thing about Botox is it's not permanent. And the other good thing is you can do a little bit and get a little bit of muscle paralysis, so it looks more natural. Or you could go to the other extreme, which a lot of people will see in the media, where they want to be completely paralyzed, like this patient. She did not want any movement, and you can do that as well.
Wow, so this is a patient right here that has had some Botox treatment. I imagine the one side where we see a lot of the creasing is before,
Right.
and the next photo is after.
Is after, and you can get a little bit of eyebrow elevation as well. You can see the eyebrows elevated. You can see the shine on the skin, and that's the fluid that comes in.
Oh, wow.
So she was a patient, and here's another patient. It just looks more natural. When they're trying to raise their brows, they can actually raise their brows, they can move. Me personally, I don't like the paralyzed look. You know,
The
look at me, I'm
expressionless? Yes.
I'm angry now, and now I'm
Yes.
happy, and it's the same look. I don't like that. I like a more natural look. I like movement, and you know, this lady came in and she just didn't like all the deep lines, and she had a forehead that's larger than the average, and so she just wanted a little bit of Botox. It gave her some brow elevation as well.
And I think that's really nice that you're addressing that, because I think majority of people, when they imagine Botox, they think the complete paralysis, like you'd mentioned.
Right.
But myself, I never was aware that you could actually kind of do it in steps and ease, and you don't have to go all the way to complete paralysis.
Right. What it is when a muscle contracts, there's a molecule that comes in and attaches to the receptor. Well, if you have 100 receptors, but you only occupy 25 of them, 25% of the muscle will not function.
Yes.
If you occupy 50 of them, 50% of it won't function. And then in some of those, 100% won't function.
And tell us about Botox versus fillers, because I know you also do fillers as well.
So fillers is like filling in cracks in the driveway or potholes and so on. So when we get these deeper grooves, that's because the collagen has gone away from there, or from function we get the deeper grooves in the nasolabial area or the tear trough area. And what we can do is we can inject either fat, take fat from your own body and inject it, or we can do reversible fillers such as Juvederm and others. And the advantage with doing reversible fillers is you get to see results. If you don't like them, we can inject reversal agents and get rid of it.
Really?
Once you like it, then we can harvest fat from your body and inject it in those areas, and it's more permanent.
Wow.
In addition, fat has more stem cells than our own blood. So you're basically recreating youthfulness, and even with all my facelifts, I will always inject fat. And the reason for that is it brings in stem cells and it just makes the skin look more natural and less pulled, you know, like the Joan Rivers look.
Yes. Thank you so much. I have learned a lot. And how can our viewers reach you?
The best way is just go to our website, sacramentosurgicalarts.com, or they can call the phone number listed there and ask for Gina.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Heir.
Thank you
Pleasure
for
to
having
meet
me.
you. Yeah, great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And everyone, stick around. We got more to come right here on Sac & Co right after the break. Or do we want to switch mics real quick? What do you want to do?
Does this work? Hello, hello.
Actually, it's not, but we think we have a
Nordic skier, that's impressive.
What's that?
It's impressive, Nordic skier.
Oh, it's impressive to be a Nordic skier? Is that what
It's
you said?
impressive that you were a Nordic
Oh, well,
skier.
thank you. I used to be fit. I used to actually be in shape, Richard. Long, long ago.
I've got a few friends in Tahoe that do that. They
Yes.
make
Oh, absolutely.
Zero body fat, just
Yep.
super healthy. Everything.
I remember before competition season, so we'd go up and just ski our hearts out. And welcome back to Sac & Co. While you may have been planning a big celebration for the holidays, finances, let's face it, they change. And if you can't afford to take on any more debt, now might be the perfect time to start looking into bankruptcy. Richard Ally Chan is an attorney with Ally Chan Law who has helped many Sacramento families finally lose their debt all thanks to filing for bankruptcy. Now, he joins me now to explain why bankruptcy may be the right option for you. And as always, Richard, a warm welcome to you. Help our viewers understand in what type of situation should they consider filing for bankruptcy.
You know, I think your viewers just have to ask themselves, and really now is a great time because people are spending time with their family and really getting back to, you know, the essence of living a good life. What are you spending your time doing? You know, arguing with your spouse or significant other about what bills to pay? Are you, constantly taking calls from creditors? Are you looking at your bank statements, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul? You know, having anxiety every time you walk out to the mailbox at the end of the month, trying to figure out how you're going to, pay for this house or make a second mortgage payment on a house that's upside down. People that are struggling with those kinds of questions should talk to me because there's a lot that can be done to get them back on track and living a normal life.
And I imagine too, especially since we're in the holiday season, it's the last thing that people really want to be burdened with.
Well, it's interesting. This is our busiest time because a lot of people start to really evaluate their lives and what it's been like for the last year, and they look back at where they were, in 2011 in December, as you approach, Christmas and New Year's. And if things today are similar as they were back in 2011 at the same time in terms of struggling and credit card bills and minimum payments and your house is upside down, it's been 12 months. It's probably about time to do something about it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about bankruptcy though versus debt consolidation, because it's out there. We see it a lot.
Sure.
Why is bankruptcy a better option?
Well, it's a much better option. I'll tell you why. Debt consolidation is really a scam industry. What they do is they'll tell you and they fill you full of a bunch of lies, and they'll make you think that they can make your debt go away. In the process, if it works, it'll take 4 or 5 years. They charge you 20, 30, sometimes 40% of your outstanding debt, so it costs a fortune. During the entire time that they say they're working on consolidating your debt, you get creditor calls 10 times a day, you're getting lawsuits, you're getting wage garnishments, you're getting foreclosures. None of that stops. Even though they tell you they can stop it, it doesn't stop.
So the stress continues.
It does continue, and 4 or 5 years down the road, even if it works, you still end up paying back much of your debt. And the one big doozy they don't tell you about is any debt that might be negotiated away or waived or what have you, you'll get a 1099 from that company for that amount. It's like you went and got if you had $20,000 in debt negotiated away, it's like you went and got a job part-time and earned 20 grand, and the federal government will tax you on that.
Wow.
Compared to bankruptcy, you don't pay any of it back. It's all wiped out, all your unsecured debt. You can get rid of your second mortgage in some circumstances. You protect all of your assets and 401ks and cash and your kids' toys and such. And the creditor call stops, lawsuits stop, wage garnishment stop, and the whole thing's over within 90 days. And there's no tax consequences. It's a much better option. Your credit score will get rebuilt faster, and you'll be back living a normal life in a much quicker pace than you would if you tried an option like debt settlement.
Okay, but what about credit cards? I know a lot of viewers are using that plastic to pay for the holidays, but they really rack up a lot of debt. How realistic is it that they're actually going to be able to pay that off?
Well, I think, obviously I don't want to condone going out and running up your credit card bills and filing a bankruptcy. You don't want to do that. But if you take a look at, if a lot of your viewers take a look at their statements, you just look on that front page of your credit card statement. And if you've been making minimum payments for 90 days or more, you take a look on that front page, it'll tell you how many years it will take you if you just make the minimum payment. And that's a law the federal government passed to protect you, because they don't want you or your viewers to know, or they want you to know, that it's going to take you 25, 30 years to pay off those minimum payments. The banks don't want you to pay $1 more or $1 less. They don't want you to pay off the balances. They want you to pay just the minimum payment, not $1 more, not $1 less, because they want you to pay the thing for 20, 30 years. That's how the banks are making a fortune. And the reality is the realistic chances of paying off a credit card balance within any reasonable amount of time, it's just not high. And just look at your front bill. If you've been making minimum payments for years on end, bankruptcy is a great way to get rid of that debt finally and get back to living a normal life.
Yeah, and then start the new year with a clean slate. Richard, how can our viewers reach you?
We can be reached at any time at 888-965-9965, and your viewers can call and set up a consultation with me personally. It's no cost to them and it's confidential. Or we can be reached through acbankruptcy.com.
Wonderful, Richard. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And happy holidays to you.
Same to you.
Always great to have you on the show. Well, everyone, for those of you who are dealing with financial issues, trying to buy the basic necessities like warm clothing can actually be really tough. News 10 has been helping families stay warm during the winter months for over 2 decades. during the annual Coats for Kids drive, and we obviously could not do this without your help. So if you have a gently used or used coat that you would like to donate, you can attend our drive-through blitz. It's happening this Friday, December 14th, out in Roseville. Come on out and join us. We are accepting donations from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Tri-Counties Bank. It's located in the Walmart parking lot in Roseville, and the address to that is 900 Pleasant Grove Boulevard. For more information about the drive, the blitz, and also for Coats for Kids as well too, be sure that you go to news10.net and click on the Coats for Kids tab. Again, it's called Coats for Kids, but we are accepting coats for everyone. So very simple thing to do. Just go into your closet, clean out the coats that you're not going to be wearing this season, or perhaps you haven't worn in a while, and give them to someone who could really benefit from it. Well, helping others by donating coats is one way to spread the holiday cheer, and it's also a great teaching moment as well. And as mentioned, giving is definitely that great teaching moment, not only for your kids, but also for you, which brings me to our next guest. Mom and family financial strategist Sarah Cook is our Family Financial Sense monthly series contributor and the co-author of the book, A Parent's Guide to Raising CEO Kids. Now, Sarah joins me now to help explain why teaching your children about giving during the holiday season is very important. Sarah, always great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You look adorable as always, and very festive. I love
Of course.
it.
I like festivity.
Me too. Okay, so last time you were on the show, we were talking about kind of trimming around the holidays and how to give gifts that are less expensive. But as a parent, what do you think is the best thing that we can give our children during the holidays?
Oh, I think that giving the gift of giving, you know, being able to teach your children to give is one of the best things we can do because it enlarges their heart. It's kind of like when the Grinch stole Christmas, how
Yes.
his heart grew through 3 sizes.
Yes.
You know, it enlarges their heart and it changes their focus to be on not me-centered, entitlement-centered. It changes their focus to be on others, and all of a sudden they open this new view of, oh my goodness, other people have needs, other people might have less than me, other people have things that maybe they don't have a coat like, you know,
Yes.
News 10's doing, and maybe they don't have food, or maybe they don't have a toy.
Yep.
And so it really it shifts them.
Yeah, and it broadens their perspective, like
Yes.
you mentioned, and it's
Yes.
also the discovery of a whole new type of joy.
Yes.
You know, it's not just the joy of opening your gift, but watching somebody else enjoy their gift that you give is just something else completely different. But how do you give that to your kid, though? Because you can't go to the store and buy the gift of giving. So
That's
give us
right.
some examples.
You can't go buy that anywhere. I mean, wouldn't that be so much easier? But I think the biggest thing is modeling it. You know, modeling it for it and including your children in that act of giving. And one of the things we love doing is calling racks. We love doing random acts of kindness and wrapping up little gifts. And so my kids help put them together. And then when we're out and about shopping or at the post office or wherever we are, they can help me give out these gifts. And they might say,
really?
maybe that person needs something. And so it just becomes this random act of maybe someone gave you great service, or you're at a restaurant, do that. Or maybe adopting grandparents, or we do something called 13 Days of Christmas Ding Dong Ditching. So we'll give a gift to the same family every night for the 12 days of Christmas, and then one
But
extra.
it's randomly, though,
Yes.
which makes this a whole new level because,
Right.
you know, families, myself, our family, we do that. We'll make gifts for our friends and give them to them, but you're saying random.
Random, because it makes it so that sometimes they don't even know that maybe that person needs something. I mean, maybe we're a little privy to that as parents, but letting them experience that true joy and the excitement of, no one knows I gave this gift except for them.
That's wonderful. I really, really like that. Okay, now, how do we teach our kids when they get a gift how to be generous, very gracious, and thankful?
One of the things that we like to do that I'm sure your grandmother taught you or your mother taught you, at least my mom and grandma taught me, was to write thank you notes. And it's kind of a lost art, but it's something where when they write those thank you notes and they acknowledge that person, it doesn't matter if the spelling is correct, it doesn't matter if the handwriting is fabulous, but when they acknowledge that person and they give that thank you card or mail that thank you card, they let that other person know that they were important.
It's been recognized.
It's been recognized.
Yes.
And in that recognition, it helps them to be grateful, and that gratitude allows them to all of a sudden start noticing other things that they can be grateful for. I mean, there's been tons of studies done on that.
Yeah, the value of their blessings.
The value of the blessing, exactly.
Yes. Let's talk about your book, Raising CEO Kids, because a number of the kids that you talk about in this book have taken taken the gift of giving and their love of
Right.
giving and turned it in a way to be an entrepreneur? Give us some examples.
You know, one of the people that we actually didn't include in our book, but I love, is Mary Margaret of kidsareheroes.com. And I was turned on to her because I met her dad on Twitter, and they featured my daughter on their website. And the whole thing on Kids Are Heroes is that it shows all these kids from all over the world that give back. And so maybe they make hats for other children, or maybe they adopt pets, or maybe they raise money to make pumps and to do wells in other countries so that children have water that
Wow.
is safe water. I mean, all of these kids have done things that are on their heart, things that are really important and passionate for them, and then they've taken their gifts and talents and they've blessed maybe the community they live in, or maybe they've blessed the world.
They've done something with it. That's
Yes.
wonderful. Sarah, how do people reach you and also find out more about your book?
They can go to saralcook.com/Sack&Co, and there's all kinds of great ideas on there, as well as links to get our book and links to help give the gift of giving.
I love your insight. Thank you so much.
Thank
Greatly
you.
appreciate it. Well, everyone, coming up after the break, we're going to go back to the kitchen to find out what kind of treats that you can make to wow your family this year, maybe even give as gifts, right?
Yes.
Holiday treats are next.
This segment was paid for by Ali Chan Law.
Well, Rayleigh's and Bel Air Markets, along with Something Extra magazine, wants to make your holiday baking a little less daunting. And we've got her back here in studio with me. Joining us now to share some helpful baking tips and recipes is Rayleigh's food stylist and recipe developer. We have Patty Mastracco. Always good to have you back, Patty.
Love being here.
And I know that Something Extra is really helping our
Love
viewers get
Something
ready
Extra.
for the holidays.
Absolutely. So we're talking about baking again.
Okay.
And these are all these things that can make this a really fun and enjoyable experience, because baking can be daunting, as you said.
It can.
It's not so easy. You have to measure carefully, and it's not just like, you know,
And if you're not
winging
familiar
it.
with it too, you know, some of the wording, you're like,
Absolutely.
what?
I know. What
What's
does that
oh,
mean?
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
We went through that earlier. Yeah.
Yes.
Reading your old recipe card from your grandmother. It's,
Yes.
yeah. things have changed.
Yes.
Well, first off, we have these fantastic things in the store, all made by Wilton. And that, I mean, that is like the top of the line with all sorts of baking ingredients. I mean, fun baking pans and great sprinkles, and I mean, just cake pop kit, cake pops are just so popular this year.
Yes, they are.
So,
absolutely.
and really easy, so it's something that kids can do. And really great baking, decorating kits too, which are really fun, and squeezy tubes that are disposable and just easy to clean up, easy to use.
And I love the kits too because they make it look very impressive, like you
Right.
spent a really long time.
I know. And if you have the right tools, though, it does make it easier.
And it makes everyone think that you really know what you're doing.
Right, right. And what you do is you practice ahead of time when nobody's looking, do a
Good.
from run.
I like that. That's very
So,
good.
and to me, holidays are nostalgic too. So I didn't just include recipes today from something extra, from this year. I have some old issues.
Returning favorites.
Yeah, these are things that I get consumer mail on. People say, I love that recipe, I make it every year, or I lost the recipe, so I'm bringing back some old favorites too.
Oh, great.
And I have something from another issue that we have in our stores that has how-tos in it. So we have this issue that is, if you sign up for our loyalty program, you get this issue free, and it's bigger than the current issue, and it's just filled with how-tos on everything from baking to meat to cheese to vegetables, everything.
That's
So it's a
great.
really great, it's kind of like a mini cookbook that you want to keep for a long time. It's not seasonal, so.
It's got the little personal tips in there that unless you're really experienced, you may not
Right.
really know.
Exactly. So that'll
Perfect.
help you with there's a whole baking section. That's where this came from. So this is so easy. I know you like make-ahead things.
I do.
This is just a chocolate cookie crust. The filling is 3 ingredients, and it's absolutely decadent. So it's amazing. It's mascarpone cheese and amaretto, and I'm blanking on the last one. I made it so early this morning, but it's three.
only
It's
three.
three
Yes.
ingredients. Sorry about
Well,
that.
it's absolutely delicious. But it's in the something extra, right?
It's in this special issue.
And the special issue.
Yes, and it's fantastic. You could probably make it a week ahead.
Leave it as a teaser if they want the
There
third
we go.
ingredient, they have
Go
to
to
there.
the, yeah, exactly. Okay, then I have from an old issue, I made a s'mores kit. So
That is so cute.
I did homemade graham crackers. So just tuck them in with a little goodie bag with marshmallows and some Hershey bars
And there comes the
some
homemade
sticks.
twist as you make your own graham crackers.
I know. So it's just really fun, and a cool little box to put it in, which is fantastic. So
Very cute.
from the current issue is a gingerbread scone recipe, and I love these little boxes that flip open. I think that's so much fun.
That's very festive, and we've already claimed stake on the scones, by the
Exactly.
way. A number of us have already.
It's all
You
stay in
see-
here.
You see this piece right here? This one is mine, Cynthia. This one is mine.
And it has crystallized ginger in it, which is so fantastic. It gives you that extra hit of ginger.
Yes, it's
So-
a nice little pop.
Yeah.
And what is this?
Well, to me, baking is not all about sweets. So these two are savory things. This is a lavash cracker, and you roll this dough out. It's a simple dough with butter and buttermilk and flour and salt and sugar. And then you just roll it out real thin, and you brush it with more buttermilk and sprinkle it with seeds. And then you just bake it. And when it's done, you just break it into pieces. That's what we have here.
Very cool. This nice little bowl right here.
Yeah,
Great.
isn't that
So
cute?
That's your cracker product left over.
Right.
And then you also got some biscotti.
And that is a savory rosemary biscotti. So
Wonderful.
it is savory. It's not a cookie, just so you know.
I like that we went from sweets to savory.
Exactly.
There's no excuse to not make something for somebody that you love in your life during the holiday
Exactly.
season. And it's all in something extra. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And Patty, we love having you on the show. I can't
Thank
wait to
you.
eat my scone. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 11:30 right here on Sack & Co. Do you mind if I take one?
Go for it.
Okay, thank you. I